Well, everyone, it's time for us to talk about the Samsung Galaxy Note 8 and see how this phone holds up in the middle part of 2022. Now, I did do a early 2022 review of this thing, and personally, I found that this specific device was doing fairly good early on this year. Now, I will say on top of that, the Galaxy Note 8, a few things have changed a little bit. We kind of got a Note successor in a way with the Galaxy S22 Ultra. We've gotten, the other S22 phones, but for the most part, because this phone has been kind of outdated for quite a few years now, there's really not a big reason to go and pick this thing up anymore. And in the middle part of this year, there's not too much news that's kind of directly hit this specific device, but I still like picking up this phone from time to time and playing some heavier intensive games like Genshin Impact and even like PUBG on my third channel, just to kind of showcase to you all how great of a phone this was back in 2017, but also how great it's holding up even now in 2022. Now, starting off with the outside, obviously things have stayed consistent. We have that 6.3-inch Super AMOLED display. It's a 1440p panel, and this is easily still one of the better panels Samsung has made. They did such a beautiful job with the specific phone screen. You have obviously the front camera and everything, but when I look at this phone, I still can't believe how great of a job Samsung did with it. And even compared to phones nowadays, this panel is still really, really good. You also have a curved display on it. On the bottom, USB Type-C, S Pen, and even the microSD card slot and a headphone jack on this phone too. That is some crazy type of I/O to have on a phone like this. And in my opinion, when you do have a phone like this, it's kind of interesting to see that the software is the only thing that's outdated. Realistically, everything else, it doesn't really feel like that, which is very, very interesting. Now on the back, we have that standard glass back, and we do have that camera setup on the back too. So when you have this phone and you're feeling it up in the hand, I think this is actually pretty insane. And when you have a phone like this right now, it still performs fairly well. It still looks pretty good. It's just the software that's kind of outdated, like I mentioned. Now, booting this thing up, we're still on One UI 1, which I think is totally fine for the most part. And for this phone to look as good as it does, and for it to perform kind of how it does right now, it is very interesting to me how good of a job Samsung did back in 2017 that this phone still is somewhat relevant. When I look at the latest phones that Samsung has made, and I look at this one, this phone doesn't feel like a cheap phone. This phone still feels like a very much of a flagship. But when I look at the Ultra lineup from Samsung for the last 2 years, the S21 Ultra and the S22 Ultra, now that we have the S Pen built into the phone, it's insane to me how great of a job Samsung did with the Note 8 because of the similarity between those devices. I did actually do a comparison, I believe, between my Note 8 and my S22 Ultra as well, and I pretty much saw the same thing. I saw that Note 8 was doing substantially well compared to the S22 Ultra, but obviously the S22 Ultra is going to be faster, it's going to perform better, it's going to have better cameras, better speeds, better performance, everything across the lines. But when I look at the Note 8, I just think to myself that this phone, if it just got One UI 4, if it got even One UI 3, this would be a phone that I think a lot of people would still end up using. It wouldn't be the first choice I would recommend to people, but for the fact that this thing looks the way it does, for it having somewhat of a decent camera setup that it does, and for it to just kind of be performing the way it does, I think Samsung did a great job, and I kind of wish they brought back the Note lineup. They stopped at the Note 20s. I think that was a smart move, honestly, but kind of what they're doing now just seems to be like the Ultra is the Note lineup. So I'd love to see what Samsung does in the future, but as of right now, that kind of covers up how this phone holds up of the middle part of this year. If you have any other thoughts or questions, please let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that will mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.